Yes, we are live right now, and I gotta tell you straight up, what the hell was that we just watch tonight with regards to WWE Money in the Bank? I mean, was that like crappy or was that like crappy? I mean, that was seriously crappy. We're gonna talk all about it in just a hot second. Right now, I gotta take care of some echo that we got going on here. Boom, there we go. I haven't done this in a good minute, man. I mean, we're streaming right now live on YouTube and we're streaming live on Spreaker.com for the next little bit. So feel free to get at me a couple of different ways, my pretty babies. You can get at me on Spreaker.com /user/ the RCWR show, or you could get at me on youtube.com /the RCWR show. I am, of course, the one and only Lee Sanders, and I thank you guys so much for checking out tonight's episode. Going to be going a little bit all over the place. What is going on here? Yeah, you know what, man? You guys got to forgive me for those of you that might be checking this out on Spreaker. I think YouTube, you guys are just fine. You're not able to hear the music right now, but the music is pretty much kind of coming like in and out for those that's listening to the live audio right now. So don't worry. Once I'm in post production, I will definitely do my best to clean that up. Long story short, for those of you that have been what I've been doing all weekend long, I was actually covering the 3-day Awesome Con event in Washington, D.C. So I actually had, for like the very first time since I had got my brand new laptop several months back, I actually took my laptop on the road. So a lot of my settings have kind of like been reset as a result of disconnecting it from my mixer and all that. So it might take me just 1 or 2 episodes to make sure that we get everything nice, good, and ready. But hopefully you guys are enjoying the broadcast as I plan on bringing it, man. It's going to be a good one. But look, man, I got to recap on just what I said to open up this show. And I definitely want to turn the forum over to you guys and get you all's input on what we had watched tonight with the 2017 edition of WWE Money in the Bank. I'm telling you off the break, this is just me from the heart. You guys know me by now. You know I try to do my very best to keep it honest, to keep it insightful, but most importantly, keep it interactive. And for me, looking at this pay per view overall, I got to tell you, it was just very disappointing. It really came off like a cluster, you know what, of just bad, just really horrendous bad booking on so many levels. And I will definitely walk you all through the ways on why I personally felt that a lot of the matches that we got tonight was just poor booking, and why overall it was just a cluster of a pay-per-view. So much so, I'm really looking forward to the Raw pay-per-view event, Great Balls of Fire. I am really hoping that that hits a home run, because what we got tonight, it just felt like a Sunday night edition of SmackDown. And I know I'm not the only one that have felt that way. Get at me via the live chats if you're checking this out live. If you're going to be checking this out on demand, post your comments afterwards. Get at me on social media. But I mean, let's go ahead. Let's have right at it. Honestly, you know how I kind of like to do it. I like to talk about the finish that closed out the pay-per-view, and then we kind of like go a little bit backwards from there. I got to tell you, if there was any type of a saving grace period for Money in the Bank tonight, it came in the form of the men's ladder match for the Money in the Bank contract. No, 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 no. For those of you that maybe thought Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton was going to close out the pay-per-view, no, they respectfully did not close the pay-per-view. And I'm kind of glad that they didn't close the pay-per-view, but then I kind of take a step back and I go, well, you know what? Considering how that match had ended, maybe it honestly should have closed out Money in the Bank. Maybe that would have been a better send off for many people. as opposed to what we got at Money in the Bank. So your 2017 Money in the Bank winner is none other than, wish there was a drum roll, Baron Corbin. Let that sink in for a little bit. It is none other than the lone wolf himself, Baron Corbin. Now look, Baron Corbin, I will admit to you guys, and I've always been pretty consistent. I say, hey, first looked at Baron Corbin down in NXT, came off like he had potential, but at the same time, he did kind of come off like he was half-assing down there. And anybody that had saw Scott Hall's DVD from a couple of years back, he called him out on that BS. I remember it was, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was part of it, or maybe Scott Hall, what he said to Baron Corbin was part of an episode of Breaking Ground. Could have been a part of Breaking Ground. Memory's a little fuzzy right now, but I think I'm right on that one. Let me know if I'm incorrect, guys. But you saw the potential in Baron Corbin and you go, okay, well, maybe in due time. Yeah, sure. Okay. He's got a nice look about to him. We'll see what happens. Finally comes up on the main roster. He's pretty much been on SmackDown ever since he got called up. And I got to tell you, when he first started off, I didn't really go that good. Wasn't really, but almost day one that he was on the SmackDown roster, you kept hearing it through Tom Phillips, through Mauro Ranallo, by God, through JBL. By God, this man's going to be a future world champion. Future looks so bright for him. Just look at him. Look at him. I know that is not how JBL sounds. So please do not come at me with your trolling hate messages. That's not how JBL sounds. You get the point that I'm making. And the point is, it was hammered and hammered and hammered into our heads week in and week out that Baron Corbin is going to be a face to reckon with in the WWE for years to come. That's how it kept coming at us every single week. He's going to be a champion. He's going to be a champion. It's like, okay, we get it. Higher ups in WWE or a certain individual in WWE sees big things for this young man, and they want to double down on Baron Corbin. They want to make one bona fide gold investment in Baron Corbin. But so many people have been very vocal about Baron Corbin. Now, some of the critique, just to kind of get you guys a little bit caught up to speed, maybe you're kind of new to this. Maybe you're kind of going, well, what criticism of Baron Corbin? What's Baron Corbin getting? And you may honestly be a legitimate fan of Baron Corbin. Hey, I am a fan of his work to a degree. I can respect and appreciate the progression that he's been making. But is he still a bit bland when it comes to his in-ring promos? Yes, I got to tell you, as I was getting ready to do the show just now, I was catching a little bit of Talking Smack because I was fiddling around with my settings. And I got to tell you, his interactions with Booker T, from what I just watched now, and you don't believe me, go back and watch Talking Smack. Come back Tuesday night and we'll revisit it, right? Because I'm going to watch it in whole, but just a little bit that I watched as I was making my way to do the stream for you guys. Baron Corbin had more charisma. He had more in-ring talk between what he was doing on Talking Smack with Booker T, Renee Young, than almost like what I've seen of him practically the entire time he's been up on the SmackDown roster. That may be hard to believe for a lot of you guys. That's like, wait a minute, say what, Lee? If you don't watch Talking Smack, I highly would encourage you to go out of your way and check out his interactions with Booker T. I'm going, where was this Baron Corbin? Now, granted, he's been kind of letting a little bit loose, kind of getting a little bit more comfortable under his skin, not as robotic as he was when he first came on the roster, but he still has leaps and bounds to go. So if you were to say to me that Baron Corbin was going to win the 2017 Money in the Bank briefcase, I would say to you, who got injured? Because you look at all of the guys that was in this match. I told you guys who I was going with. I was going for Shinsuke Nakamura. And bear in mind, I honestly did not have any idea what was going on with the card because I was so busy with Awesome Con this week, getting ready for it, covering that event, not have proper time to kind of catch up on SmackDown, really get nice, good details on what all's coming about. There's actually a couple of SmackDowns I had missed that I wasn't able to watch in its entirety. I pretty much only caught like a little bit of highlights online, maybe a little bit of stuff I was able to read on the website, but like I didn't know the card. So I'm pretty much going into Sunday for the first time in a good in many months saying, okay, I'm actually going to enjoy this pay-per-view just from a viewing standpoint. But when I looked at the matches as they were coming about, you saw me. You can actually go back and check out my timeline. I'm going, okay, well, this is who I'm going with. My guy to win Money in the Bank was Shinsuke Nakamura. Why Shinsuke Nakamura? I think everybody will be in agreement with this assessment. If you've been watching Shinsuke Nakamura since he's been up on SmackDown, you get past the entrance, you get past the great crowd reaction that he gets for that entrance. And when you put all of that away, there's nothing behind it. There is absolutely nothing behind it. Now, some people would say, but Lee, it actually has to do with the fact that his English, it's so broken. And as a result of that, that's really what's kind of holding Nakamura back. To that, I say I can bite into that, but only to a certain degree, because anybody that has watched Access TV, New Japan Pro Wrestling, you get the English version with Jim Ross commentating. You see that when they set up Nakamura's matches over there for New Japan, you got the subtitle. He's just doing his thing. So what I don't understand is, okay, well, what's working over with Access TV? And I can only tell you how many fans like me or other shows that's been like, hey, if you like Nakamura from his time in NXT, you never checked out his stuff in New Japan, go check out Access TV, check out New Japan Pro Wrestling. Jim Ross is doing color commentating with Josh Barnett. You'll enjoy it. And more people have been like, wow, what this guy was doing in New Japan, what the heck? So, I mean, the most simplistic thing you could do with Nakamura is honestly have him do vignettes, have him do promos, have it all be pre-taped. And you can just put an English dub, whether it's a voiceover and or text, and you can pretty much get them over that way. You can make it be extremely limited how often you're able to see him do in-ring competition on an episode of SmackDown. You can pretty much, under the right storyline, make it be pretty epic, carry him into whatever the next pay-per-view event is, if possible, or worst case scenario, have him wrestle maybe 2 SmackDowns out of the entire month and just basically surround it all with promos, vignettes, etc. Nothing to the extreme of what they had did in hyping him up, coming to the SmackDown roster soon. Nothing of that caliber, but you get the point that I'm making. So there was a lot of reasons why I was going with Nakamura, because honestly, like I said, you get past all the flash, the entrance, great entrance and all that, there really wasn't anything there. He just really came off like, and I love Nakamura. Please do not come at me hating, because this guy right here, and you can actually see it on my Twitter and Facebook timeline. I had a fantastic photo op this weekend at Awesome Con with Shinsuke Nakamura and Charlotte Flair. And I got to tell you, it was really awesome meeting them in person. I'll actually talk about the whole Awesome Con experience. I've only done like little bits and pieces here and there over the past couple of days, but I'll actually be talking about the entire Awesome Con experience, as well as the other WWE talent that I was able to meet over the weekend on this coming Tuesday night's RCWR show. So you don't want to miss that. But I'm a big fan of Nakamura. But I got to tell you, you get past all that stuff I mentioned, man, and it's like, okay, Nakamura's just, what's the game plan? What is the game plan? And it's really just been so eye-opening, because it's really got into that point now. Any relevant incredible talent that Triple H has spent the time, the energy, the resources to invest in, really build them up, to really help out with the NXT brand. Maybe he's given his blessing, who knows? But basically, Vince McMahon, however the combination you want to go, I'm not going to even try to come at you guys like I know who's the one pulling the strings, but we can all be in agreement. Talents like Nakamura, great start in NXT. Once they get brought up to the main roster, it's pretty much, damn, a 180. You're like, what happened to the guy I was just watching down in NXT? And it's gotten to the point right now, take it with a grain of salt, but Dave Meltzer is reporting that Triple H and Vince McMahon are butting heads. Triple H is legitimately pissed off because he's not liking what's happening to his children, his NXT children, as they're all being brought up. He's building them up. I mean, he is shining them up really, really freaking good. And when they're coming up to these main shows, they're going down the gutter. I mean, hell, if you would have told me that Charlotte Flair, okay, she's going to go from Raw and she's going to go to SmackDown, I'd have been like, the Queen's going to continue to dominate. No problem. But even to a certain degree, just to a certain degree, respectfully, love Charlotte. Happy to say I saw her stuff down NXT, right? Not kissing behind or anything like that. I'm just giving praise where praise is needed, but I'm also giving constructive criticism where constructive criticism needs to be given. But even Charlotte, as good as she was over on Raw, even she's lost that aura, that mojo, that swagger and all that everything that just was, wow, Charlotte's awesome. When she was on Raw, even she's lost a bit of that since she's come on over to SmackDown. So I hope that report is not true, that Triple H and Vince are butting heads, yet at the same time, who wouldn't be upset? It's like, here's your children. You've spent the time, you've spent all these resources into them, and now you pretty much gotta, okay, I've done what I could. I've done the very best that I could. I've given you everything that you needed to know. I've given you the skills. Now you got to go out there and you got to apply it the best that you can. Okay, well, that talent is doing what they need to do to go out there and provide the very best that they can as far as execution. But it's all about, okay, well, who's writing for these guys? Who's booking their matches? They don't have that much say because they're now technically the new kid on the block until further notice. So, you know, it's really frustrating when you look at all this stuff that's coming about. But considering the decline that Shinsuke Nakamura was on, rather easy to let Nakamura become the Money in the Bank winner, right? I think we all can be in agreement with that statement to a degree. Hell, you don't want to go with Nakamura if you want to say, nah. Okay, well, how about Sami Zayn? SmackDown is supposed to be the land of opportunities, right? SmackDown is supposed to be new, fresh start. Sami Zayn, the crap that guy had eaten as an underdog over at NXT, and it basically continued with him being over on Raw, and honestly, right down to the point, just getting legitimately lost in the shuffle on Raw to a degree. One could make the argument that, hey, for everything storyline wise that Sami Zayn was put through and how he just continues to have the crowd following, almost that to a Daniel Bryan. Okay, well, you know what? If Sami Zayn would have won it, I guarantee you a lot of people would have walked away feeling pretty damn good. Because leading up to this Money in the Bank match for the men, it was like, God, please, the main event match, please send us home happy. You could almost kind of feel it in the air from those that were in attendance, that like they were literally, please let one of our favorites become Money in the Bank, right? So you keep that in mind. No Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn doesn't even get the damn thing. You're like, okay, well, damn. Well, what's next? I honestly did not believe AJ Styles was going to get it. I did not believe Kevin Owens was going to get it. What's going on with Kevin Owens, AJ Styles right now? They're kind of going, back and forth. I kind of see them still continuing to embark in their feud. Dolph Ziggler, it's just gotten to that point. You see Dolph Ziggler on the card, you automatically go, okay, well, who's he putting over? Who is he trying to help enhance? Who do we need to keep our eyes out on? That's pretty much the point we've gotten to now with a Dolph Ziggler, right? But no, you had three really good options right there. No, two really good options right there. You could have went with Sami Zayn. You could have went with Shinsuke Nakamura. Hell, if you want to just throw a swerve and make people think, well, maybe this go round, maybe Dolph Ziggler. Okay, maybe Dolph Ziggler is on to something here. Okay, maybe the system is finally gonna reinvest in Dolph Ziggler. Okay, that would have been a nice swerve, yeah, but no, it doesn't even go down that way. Baron Corbin. I want to know legitimately, and this definitely extends to our Epic Sports family, what do you all legitimately think of Baron Corbin as your Money in the Bank briefcase winner? Are you happy? Are you legitimately happy for the guy? Are you happy that he won? Or are you disgruntled? And if you're disgruntled, I want to know why you're disgruntled. Don't just say Baron Corbin sucks. Everybody, I don't want to just hear Baron Corbin sucks. You can say Baron Corbin sucks, but follow it up with, no, Baron Corbin sucks, and this is why I felt he shouldn't have gotten the briefcase. But, my God, just let's talk about some of these other matches, man. I just got to go on ahead and get off of that one. Whether or not Baron Corbin can be a successful future World Heavyweight Champion, combination of a few things will determine that one. Number one is, first off, the writing team. That's booking him. It's got to continue to be strong. It's got to make sense. All the above, man. All the above. It just, everything has to be in unison, right? But the storyline, the booking, I mean, it's got to be better than what is currently going on with Jinder Mahal. And I'll get to Jinder Mahal in a little bit. We had a pre-show match. Hype Brothers, Zack Ryder, Mojo Rawley, they had defeated the Colognes, Primo, and Epico. That was your only pre-show match, about 8 minutes and some change. Rather decent pre-show match. Let's go to our opener for the Money in the Bank card. It was the Money in the Bank ladder match for a shot at the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. Anytime, any place. The winner chooses. We saw Carmella, Charlotte Flair, Natalya, Tamina, and Becky Lynch. I tell you, the role of cluster, of F finishes really just began with this matchup, and it just pretty much rolled on out. Some could make the argument up until the main event match. So remember, the rules for this match is simple. First, female superstar to climb up to the top of the ladder, grab the Money in the Bank briefcase. They're the winner. That's pretty much how it works. Well, towards the end of the match, we saw James Ellsworth. He decided he was going to help out his homegirl Carmella by doing what any other boyfriend or boo or whatever the hell you want to call it, right? Significant other, whatever. Grab a ladder, prop that SOB in the middle of the ring, climb up to the very top, grab the briefcase, and just drop it. Drop it in midair. Just drop it, letting Carmella catch it. We saw 3 referees arguing about what had happened. Sounded like 2 of the referees were going, no, that does not qualify It has to be the first female to climb up to the top of the ladder. They get the briefcase. They take it off the hook. They win. This guy was not like even eligible. He wasn't even supposed to be participating in this match. He was invalid. What he did for Carmella is invalid because he had nothing to do with this match. He was not a part of this match. But JBL kept bringing up this point of, hey, it's a loophole. That's pretty much what JBL was saying in a nutshell, that what was storyline wise a pretty brilliant move on the part, again, storyline wise, of James Ellsworth. It was honestly a loophole, a big serious loophole. Putting the whole loophole stuff to the side, I can bite into it if you want to give me the whole suspense. You want to give me a little bit of drama. You want to give me a little bit of a cliffhanger. Ooh, I got to check out SmackDown because I need to see what's going to happen. How is this going to play out? Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan. Apparently, they're going to be addressing the controversy on Tuesday SmackDown. It's going to be the first time we're going to be seeing Daniel Bryan back in his role as SmackDown. What is he? General manager. Since he had took a little bit of time away as his lovely wife was getting ready to give birth. So I tell you this, I appreciate the whole cliffhanger. I really do. But just the fact that you had that spot with James Ellsworth, not James Ellsworth's fault. I know there's probably going to be a lot of people crapping on James Ellsworth. I know at the end of the day, James Ellsworth was just doing his part as it was written for him. But a little bit of common sense needs to kick in here, which is, wait a minute now. You're trying to have people come out of their pockets to see this pay-per-view, right? Get the WWE Network, get the subscription, because, man, we're making history right here. You bring up the Trish Stratus, you bring up the Litas, you bring up the Jacquelines, right? You bring up the Mae Youngs, you bring up the Alundra Blaze. And I know that not every single favorite female champion, like AJ Lee, I know some people, what about AJ Lee? Oh, whatever. But you get the point. They go through this list and then they talk about the women's revolution. And I like how we're just reminded as we hear the sound bites of Stephanie McMahon, right? Putting over the women's revolution, almost kind of acting as if she had a part in really orchestrating this bad boy, right? So you're hearing all this great hype, this history, first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match, right? So you hear the names that's going to be participating in this, and you're going, okay, this is going to be a pretty, might not be a 5-star match, but it should be at least a 3.5, maybe kind of teasing a 4-star, right? Okay, let's see what happens here. Just the way, storyline-wise, everything was put into this match. And to have James Ellsworth do that spot that he did, in my estimation, and I'm keeping it 100. It was a blatant slap. It was a blatant disrespect to everything that every single female competitor that has stepped foot in the WWE ring, present to the past. It was a blatant disrespect to what all the women have done thus far when you go over the course of time. And I just did not appreciate that spot. Again, I understand James Ellsworth, he had a role. He had to play out that part. He just played a role. I am putting the blame on the booking. That was single-handedly the most stupid booking I have seen in quite a long time that had no business taking place. Honestly, what I thought was maybe getting ready to happen was maybe James Ellsworth was going to climb up to the top of the ladder And honestly, think about it. He's been a thorn in Charlotte, in Becky Lynch, been a thorn in their sides for a good minute now. So I honestly was expecting that maybe one of those girls or both were maybe going to tag team, and we were going to see some type of a spot where James Ellsworth was going to go crashing off of that ladder, go sending, off the aprons into the crowd section. I don't know. Maybe he hits the wall barrier on his way crashing down, hits his abs. That would have got a really great spot from the crowd. I think everybody would have just eaten the hell out of that, right? And then you know what? Like for me, honestly, I knew Carmella was gonna win it, but the way I had it planned out in my mind, I pictured that of Ellsworth climbing up. He gets pushed off, he crashes, he burns, he's incapacitated. He is out of the game. It's all back on the women. But I thought for sure the closing moments would involve James Ellsworth somehow getting back in there and physically, I mean, actually picking up Carmella when all the other girls are down, actually picking up Carmella, taking her arm, putting it over his shoulder, and he's literally pushing her up the ladder and is like got her hands on her behind, pushing her up the ladder. So much so, she's like actually on his shoulders, kind of like sitting on his shoulders, and he's basically climbing the ladder with her on top, helping her go up, reach that briefcase. Like, I was picturing it was going to go down like that, but it did not go down like that. And the fact that it did not go down like that, I'm sure, like, I'm not the only one that thought that it was going to play out that way. It just blatant disrespect. It just really spit in the face on everything that the women have done thus far. Just to have a man be thrown in there like that, in that capacity, just in that respected capacity, and how they executed it rubbed me the wrong way. I'm very curious to see how they're going to play this out on SmackDown. I mean, what could they possibly do? What could they possibly do to try to rectify this? You can't go, oh, we're going to do another Money in the Bank match, because it's like, well, wait a minute, you guys had a pay-per-view. So if you were going to redo this match again, that kind of like defeats the whole purpose of what we just saw and paid for with Money in the Bank, right? Another thing that was just really a F up. No Daniel Bryan, which is understandable, but like no Shane McMahon. Could we not have had a temporary SmackDown GM for this night only? Okay, you could have said, hey, no Daniel Bryan just yet, but he's coming back Tuesday. No Shane McMahon. He's enjoying Father's Day with his children. You know how much of family time Shane McMahon loves to have with his kids. Wish him nothing but the best. There should have been some type of a appointee that honestly should have came out. I honestly, for me, I would have settled for the match restarting, and it still played out in the way that I had suggested just earlier. If they would have done it that way, I would have been fine with that. Like to know what you guys think about that. And so far from some of the comments that I see, a lot of you guys don't exactly agree with the way that match had played out. So take a look at some of the other action that we had got on tonight's card. How are we doing on Showtime, by the way? Hopefully we're doing pretty good so far. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. We're only like 35 minutes in. Shout out to Joe. Joe had this statement he wanted to put out there with regards to Money in the Bank. I believe that the right person is Mr. Money in the Bank. He has been deserving of this for quite a while. So we got one person in Joe that feels that Baron Corbin has been, in his estimation, deserving of being Mr. Money in the Bank. Well, let's put Joe in the hot seat even more. I got to put on my interview thinking cap, and I got to probe. Joe, what has made Baron Corbin deserving of being given the Mr. Money in the Bank title. So anybody else that feels that way, please elaborate more. So we had one silly finish. We go to our next matchup. All these matches, for the most part, very short. Right down to when you get to the Jinder Mahal Randy Orton match. That probably was the longest match of the entire card to a certain degree. It was New Day taking on the Usos. It was New Day's Big E, Kofi Kingston with Xavier Woods. They were taking on Jimmy and Jay Uso. I put out a couple of options out there for you guys because I was pretty curious. How did you all feel this match was going to end? And I put a couple of options out there. One of them was, did you think that maybe the Usos were going to win by crook? Or did you think they were going to settle for a count out? Did you think New Day was maybe going to win via count out or DQ? Or did you think that maybe they were just going to pick up the win cleanly? And to the results we go right now, because I pretty much had let that remain active for about, I would say probably 10 minutes, maybe even 15 minutes, because it turned out that match was really, really, really short. Looking at the final tally before we reveal what the results were for that one. 75% of you overwhelmingly felt that the Usos were going to win by crook. 13% of you thought that New Day was perhaps going to win via countout, and 12% of you thought that New Day was going to win via DQ. Well, the way that match would end up playing out, New Day would win via count out. Let's pick it up towards the final moments of that respective matchup. We had saw Big E. He came in for the tag, but Kofi went down off of a super kick. Jay had climbed to the top for a splash on Kofi, but Big E managed to catch him on the way down as he's still the legal man. Big E hits him with the big ending that only had got him a near count, as Jimmy broke it just in time. Jimmy would start working on Big E for a hot second. Woods, in the meantime, he gets on the apron with his trombone. Big E clotheslines Uso off the distraction, but gets a roll up for only a 2 count. Big E goes to the opposite side of the ring. Kofi finally tags in, gets that hot tag, goes in, goes to the top, leaping down to take both of the Usos out. Kofi brings Jay back into the ring. Big E scoops him for the midnight hour, and they hit it, but Jimmy pulls Jay out of the ring before the 3 count. Fans were booing as they felt that maybe they were that close to getting new WWE Tag Team Champions. Referee begins to count as the Usos pretty much head over to the timekeeper's area. They get their belts and they leave as the 10 count hit. So again, New Day wins via count out, but still the WWE Tag Champions is the Usos, as the tag titles cannot exchange hands in this case on a count out. And with regards to that matchup, we saw a little bit of a series, and pretty much from like that matchup on through the rest, even going to Jinder Mahal taking on Randy Orton, the infatuation with the knees. Everybody was working the knees for a majority of the match. It was almost kind of like, well, I know there's arms, I know there's thighs, I know there's feet, I know there's head, I know there's the chest, I know there's the abdominal region, but I'm in a knee mode right now. Every single match, a big bulk of the story that was being told involved doing work on the knees. And I was just kicking back, laughing my behind off, because all I could keep thinking about was Rey Mysterio and just all the times he kept messing up his knees in the WWE. I'm just like, oh, my knee. Oh, I'm just picturing Rey Mysterio in that voice. Just don't ask me why, but I'm just picturing him and all those times, almost that of a Kevin Nash, really. Nothing else was available. No other storytelling was available. for ring psychology. Like everybody was just working the knees tonight. I just didn't quite understand that. To each its own. But the next matchup, it was Naomi taking on Lana. From the bit that I had saw of Lana, look, I gotta say, I'll give WWE praise on this one. The way that they told the story for this matchup, the way that this match was booked, for the most part, they did a good job in protecting Lana. It's pretty obvious she is still very, very green. Now, if you want to ask me how green, I would tell you she is very green to that. For you guys that have periodically been watching Impact Wrestling, does anybody recall when Brandy Rhodes had made her in-ring debut in Impact Wrestling? Anybody remember how horrific it was? Well, I'm not saying that Lana's in-ring debut tonight was that bad. She was definitely protected. But as far as how green she is, I would have to say compared to a Brandy Rhodes, because that's honestly the best comparison I can provide. She is progressing. What's the right words I'm looking for? She has progressed more than my expectations when I compare her to that of, let's say, a Brandy Rhodes or Brandy Reynolds. So, but has a lot of work that needs to continue to go down. But she's off to a rather decent start. Honestly, from what I saw of this matchup, she mainly was doing cheap shots. Okay, no problem there. She's pretty much a dirty heel. Yeah, she's probably going to take advantage of a few distractions. Understandable. Yeah, she's probably gonna, when she sees she's in a position where, hey, I messed that limb up pretty good. Well, let me focus on that for a hot minute. We saw that come about where she focused on Naomi's knees. It involved largely in part Naomi's knees hitting the ropes as she was doing like these series of like snap suplexes. But when Lana would do these snap suplexes, Naomi's knees would hit the ropes, and she was selling the hell out of it. I thought she did pretty good. By the way, I learned something about Naomi's entrance, and I would just love it if somebody who has the opportunity to interview her ask her straight up if maybe in part of her entrance, if maybe she's like heavily influenced by it and whatnot. But I don't know, but I looked at her entrance tonight, and then I just started reminiscing about all the other times I've seen her with her entrance. And I swear she's heavily influenced by George Clinton. I really, really believe that, especially when you just go back and you look at her entrance tonight. I mean, it just had George Clinton all over it. And hey, if she's into that, I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm not bashing. I think that's freaking awesome. So I'm a little bit curious if she is maybe heavily influenced by George Clinton, man. But closing moments of that matchup, we can tell you that there was a bit of a distraction that had came from Carmella. She came on down, looked as though maybe she was getting ready to cash in her Money in the Bank briefcase. Lana just stood there looking like, what the hell? What are you doing? But Carmella decided, nah, I'm not going to cash in the briefcase just yet. Nah, that's okay. So closing moments of this matchup. It was a very short match, by the way. It lasted about probably 8 minutes and some change. Final moments of this matchup. We had saw Naomi. She had connected with the rear view. That only had got her a 2 count. Lana had rolled to the floor, kicked Naomi in the face. Lana comes back in, drops Naomi. Lana hits her sit-down spine buster. That only got her a near fall. And as I told you, Carmella had came out. At that point, once Carmella had changed her mind, Lana had tried to go for a cover on Naomi, but that only got her a 1 count. Lana then mounted Naomi and works her over. Lana tries to go for her finisher again, but Naomi counters, and she turned it into a submission that made Lana tap out. Right after that, we saw Carmella. She raised up the briefcase, teasing as if she was maybe going to cash in the briefcase, but she was like, nah, boo, that's okay. I'm done. That's all right. I'm just fine. We saw another solid edition of the Fashion Files. This time they were doing a little bit of a spinoff from Miami Vice, and I love seeing, oh my God, Fandango. I've been just looking at them as Breezango for so long. It's like now I've kind of gotten to that point. I know Tyler Breeze, but it's like, who's the other guy again? And I got to say Fandango. Fandango had this really cool spot where you see him on the phone. He's on a vintage cordless phone. But when you look at the sticker that's on the cordless phone, it actually says property of Paul E. And you're like, oh, that is just. And Paul Heyman actually had a hearty laugh at that on social media. It was a great little spot right there. But no, we had saw Breezango. They were trying to figure out who has like been hitting them up mysteriously over the past couple of weeks. They actually had got a VHS tape that they had popped in a VCR player, and the mystery opponents that's been kind of giving them a little bit of beef, giving them a little bit of heat the past couple of weeks, giving them a little bit of trouble. Say, hey, if you want to find out who we are, meet us in the ring at Money in the Bank later tonight. So that's exactly what they did. And it turns out it was none other than the Ascension. To that matchup we can go to. That was actually a pretty short matchup as well. I had that match clocking in at about less than 4 minutes. Believe it or not. Yeah, less than 4 minutes. Pretty much back and forth. Short match. Just damn good short match. I mean, you blinked, went to go take a leak, the match was over. I mean, that's how short it was. Like by the time you try to get a pen and paper to take down some notes on what came about with the outcome of that matchup, damn match was over. I hope you guys are enjoying the stream so far. If you are, make sure you give me a like. And be sure to follow me on social media, Twitter at the RCWR Show, Facebook at the RCWR Show. Support the show on patreon.com/RCWR Show for some exclusive audio and video content that you're not going to be able to access anywhere else. Largely in part, I'm going to be doing some exclusive audio with regards to AwesomeCon. Now, this Tuesday night, I will be talking about the overall experience of AwesomeCon, the whole 3-day event, seeing some of the stars that I was able to see. But there's going to be some only for Patreon listeners, for their respected ears only. There's going to be some stuff I'll be talking in a extended conversation about AwesomeCon that only be accessible to them. So following up on a question that I put out there to anybody that maybe were feeling exactly as Joe, which is elaborate more on why you may possibly feel Baron Corbin deserves having the Mr. Money in the Bank title. So we go back to Joe, who says the following here. He works hard. Look at his shirt feud on SmackDown Live versus Sami Zayn. Remember when he attacked Sami on Talking Smack? Baron displays a hunger and a drive that I believe would make a good WWE champion. Meanwhile, we got Garwick. He's saying, personally, I would have loved to see Ziggler as Mr. Money in the Bank. His first run as Mr. Money in the Bank was really entertaining. And no dispute about that. So for those of you that want to chime in on Baron Corbin winning Money in the Bank, please continue. I want to definitely follow up on what you all have to say this coming Tuesday. This invitation definitely extends to our Epic Sports extended family as well. Just taking a peek and what's going on via YouTube here. Let's see. I'm just going through some of the questions here. I see another vote for Baron Corbin deserves it. I see a too soon for Corbin. I know we hear that a lot, too soon, but I see that immediately followed up with he really does not have any momentum. I got to show some love as we go back to what was said earlier about the women's matchup. I see Nolara. They said they just disrespected every women's wrestler who has ever stepped into that damn ring. And what happened to the women's revolution? Oh, wait, what revolution? Go to Twitter. Shout out to Melody. She says, I agree with you, Lee. Very big slap to women's division. Definitely thought Ellsworth would carry Carmella up for her to that's a tongue twister. Agree with you, Lee. Very big slap to women's division. Definitely thought Ellsworth would carry Carmella up to get to the briefcase is what she was trying to say. So I actually was reading it right the first time. It was just the way that it was kind of phrased. I actually had to go back and clean that up. So yeah, I would imagine anyone that is like a big fan of women's wrestling, but then not even just women's wrestling, but can just really take a step back and be like, yeah, they actually did mess the booking of that one up. I would imagine that's going to be pretty unanimous. I would be really shocked and surprised to see anybody that takes a stand and tries to defend how that was booked tonight. Good luck. I mean, I'm curious how you get out of that one. Let's talk about the rest of this card that came about. Not really too much else to dive into. How we're doing on Showtime, by the way. Feels like we're about maybe at the oh yeah, that ain't too bad. We're about at the 52-minute mark, so we're almost done. We only got a couple of more matches to talk about here. We talked about Naomi taking on Lana. We actually had talked about Breezango. Wow, yeah, we only got one more match to talk about. Yeah, Jinder Mahal taking on Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. And for those of you that's like, nah, Lee, you missed a match. Well, remember, we talked about the WWE Championship match contract, the Money in the Bank ladder match for that. We talked about that to kick off the show. We talked about the pre-show. I'm looking at the rest of the card. We talked about all the other matches. Grand total, we had 7 matches, and we already went through all of them except for the match for the WWE Championship. Again, you had a match right here where the knee is being worked on. I did not like the booking of this match. I'll tell you the reason why. First off, I'm thinking, oh, wow, look at all of these great WWE legends that's at ringside getting ready to watch Randy Orton fight Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship. Remember now, St. Louis loves and appreciates their wrestling. They are old school. I mean, you go back basically to the old territory days now. So, look, we had Greg Gagne. We had Larry the Axe Henning. We had Baron Von Roski. We had Sergeant Slaughter. We had Bob Orton. We had Ric Flair. JBL gave a shout out to Harley Race, who, as you all know, he really has not been doing that well, as he had a recent fall at his home a couple of weeks back. But I mean, when you just look at all of these guys, I mean, you're just reminded of some nice, good, fun, old territory days. You're definitely thinking the AWA without a doubt. But what I did not like about this match was just how poorly booked Jinder Mahal was for this matchup. And let me count the ways as far as why Jinder Mahal was poorly booked. First off, all we've basically gotten since he became the WWE champion, he's pretty much been celebrating, and he's done these matches where you're like, wait, why is he facing this guy? Remember there was one match a couple of weeks back, Mojo Rawley, you're like, wait, what? That doesn't make any. Why is he doing that? He's the WWE champ. Why is he? This guy just defeated like a decorated 13-time WWE champion, definitely going to be a bona fide future Hall of Famer, and Randy Orton. Okay, like, why is he? You know, it's almost like you're playing Mario Brothers and you get up to like level 13-3 and you die, right? And like, man, I'm mad. Well, what are you going to do? Are you going to press the start button, assuming you did the little coin trick so you can get unlimited lives or whatever? Or are you going to just quit the game and start at the very beginning? No, you're probably going to pick up where you left off and try to beat that level. So to see Jinder Mahal beat Randy Orton, he pretty much like goes from Jinder Mahal to Mojo Riley. And I was kind of like, what the hell, dude? So just the way that he has been booked on SmackDown since becoming the champion, and then those couple of weeks where Randy Orton was owning him on SmackDown, you're going, okay, this man needs like a strong, dominating performance. That's great that he's getting his behind kicked, right? You want to kind of see the heel get his butt kicked around, but at the same time, you look at this specimen of a man in Jinder Mahal. You look at his body and say what you will, but he's in the best shape of his life right now. To each its own, what the hell the guy's doing on his spare time to look that way. Look, as far as I'm concerned, until it's proven otherwise, and I am not being naive in any type of way, but the point I'm making is until it is proven that he's doing something, look, we've never heard situations occur where Jinder Mahal is late appearing for this radio show, or he's late appearing for this TV show or podcast, or he did not catch his connected flights or whatever of transportation method to get to the next town to make up this appearance, autograph signer or whatever. Until we get to that point where we start hearing some things like that and it's on a consistent basis, honestly, the only thing I care about right now is the body of work that I see of Jinder Mahal in the ring. That is what I care about more, because right now he is the face that currently is supposed to be running the place, only he's not running the place. Thus the problem. He has really came off as a very weak champion. I mean, we have seen scenarios occur in the past where some of the best heel champions of all time, they cut these great heel-like promos, and he's got the whole, say what you will, but in my eyes, he's got this whole anti-immigration, you hate my people, you hate my country, almost kind of Islam, got a little bit of that, kind of got a little touch of ISIS. I mean, he's got so many things going on right now rolled up into a ball that WWE should like be exploiting the hell out of. The guy just is getting that natural heat, and they really should be building upon that. And honestly, they have just been dropping the ball with that tremendously. So not really a factor in the ring. Jinder Mahal was tonight. Really, the story was all about Randy Orton looking good. The Singh brothers. I mean, basically, we had a repeat from SmackDown's last pay-per-view, and how Randy Orton was just crashing the Singh brothers through the announcers tables left and right. That's pretty much the repeat that we had. God. But one thing I thought for sure that was going to come about somewhere in this matchup, I'm seeing all these WWE Hall of Famers, these WWE legends that were mentioned at the very top. I'm going, Jinder Mahal is going to get instant heat. At some point, he's going to go over to these guys and he's going to say some pretty foul, messed up stuff. I'm picturing him getting into the face of Sergeant Slaughter. I'm eating it up. I'm eating it up. I'm going, this is his moment. Because when it's all said and done, you know who he reminds me of? And I have said this periodically on the show since he's been doing what he's been doing. He reminds me of a light version, and I do mean light version, because you know how PG WWE is, but they've been teasing this. If you're going to go there, go there. Have fun with it. Just put up the little caption that, hey, these guys, they just play characters that you see on TV. They're just playing a role or whatever. Put that little clause, that little warning up, all right? but he reminds me of a light version of Muhammad Hassan. I thought for sure we were going to see Jinder Mahal get in the face of these WWE legends, for sure Sergeant Slaughter, and for the commentators to be able to go there. I was looking for the commentators to be like, oh my God, man, this is shades almost of what had went down. Remember when Sergeant Slaughter had joined the Iron Sheik and turned his back on America? Man, I was picturing JBL, because think about it. As long as we've been watching SmackDown, JBL is the one to always make the old school references. So it would have made perfect sense to have Jinder Mahal go over there and kind of pick on some of the legends, right? Doesn't even happen. If it went down, I must have blinked and missed it. I swear I did not see that come about. But the Singh brothers sure as hell went over there and they did a little something. They actually had grabbed on to Cowboy Bob Orton. They just grabbed him. They acted as though they were going to attack him. This had prompted Randy Orton to come over, defend his dad. Why not? That's his dad. After all, Father's Day too. Whooped the crap out of the Singh brothers, sent them crashing through the announcers' tables again. By the time he tries to get in the ring, Jinder Mahal pretty much hits his finisher. 1, 2, 3, match is over. Loses cleanly in the middle of the ring. So that goes down. You're kind of like, so is that it? I mean, that was like clean in the middle of the ring, unless Randy Orton is maybe going to get one more shot at some point over the next couple of weeks on SmackDown. If you ask me honestly, we got John Cena that's getting ready to come back, and I'm just looking at how everything's going to be mapping out pay-per-view wise for the next couple of months. Raw is next. They're going to be doing Great Balls of Fire. That's going to be happening July 9th. And then you got WWE Battleground. Battleground is going to be happening on July 23rd. And then after that, I'm looking at the next, actually, yeah, and I see that one's going to be in Pennsylvania. I'm trying to see when SummerSlam is. Let me just type up SummerSlam real quick, guys. Bear with me a second. SummerSlam 2017. That should be going down. So yeah, Sunday, August 20th. So unless maybe now you go on ahead, you bring John Cena in. How long is John Cena going to be back, though? I mean, that's the main question. How long is he going to be back? And what are you going to do with John Cena? I mean, the smart money says a program between Jinder Mahal, John Cena. If you really want to get Jinder over, I mean, who better than a guy like John Cena, right? There's your Captain America right there. Like, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I know John Cena is supposed to be coming back July 4th. We got rumblings that maybe he's going to try to pop up as a free agent. I don't know exactly how they're going to work out the kinks for that one. I'll actually dive into that one a little bit more on Tuesday night. I have a couple of ideas on how they can go about talking about that particular angle, if that is something that WWE wants to try to go on ahead and exploit. But Jinder Mahal, not really. I'm not looking for him to be a fighting champion, but I'm definitely looking for him to be as great of a physique as he has. I'm definitely looking for him to tell that story in such a way that he's able to naturally, like I suggested earlier, go over to those WWE legends. How badass would it have been to maybe see Ric Flair or Cowboy Bob Orton spit in Jinder Mahal's face or whatever, or hell, let it be Cowboy Bob Orton that spits in Jinder Mahal's face and Jinder Mahal tries to get physical with him. And then you could have had the Singh brothers try to come and maybe try to attack Randy Orton, but no mas, because Randy sees him coming, fights him off, whoops him, right? You still could have had the finish play out the way that it could have played out, but it really would have been better to see Jinder Mahal show more offense, is what I'm saying in a nutshell. And I think when you guys go back and you look at that match, you would definitely be in agreement. So that's all the matches I honestly would have to say in a nutshell when I look at this. And thank you, Garwick. Yes, I have lost. I'm not even keeping track, honestly, but so far I've probably lost about an additional 15 pounds. I feel good, moving around quicker. I tell you what, if you actually see the pictures that was taken of me at AwesomeCon, because I posed with a ton of great people, man. I won't spoil it for you guys if you didn't see the pictures yet, but I shared them on Twitter and definitely on Facebook. Yeah, I definitely have slimmed down a lot, and I'm still going at it. Let's be honest. Let's talk about this pay-per-view. Scale of 1 to 10. I go there. I respect all the men and women, man. And look, I'm not kissing any butts or anything like that. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it, or I'm not trying to sweeten the blow in any type of way. I'm just speaking from the heart. I appreciate what all the men and women had did, going out there, putting on a good show, all in the good name of fun and entertainment. But overall, just the execution of the booking of matches, the quality of execution, the stupidity booking that we saw in a lot of these matches, I have to give Money in the Bank a 4 out of 10. I'm being firm. I'm sticking to it. I have to give it a 4 out of 10. Some of y'all may feel I'm being way critical on that one, but considering everything that I had said, if you were to even try to get me to go, Lee, surely there's a match of this card that you had liked. At least one match. One match, right? I'm looking at the card one more time. One match, right? No. Well, honorable mention could go to New Day and the Usos. And I could give an honorable mention to the Money in the Bank ladder match. For what it was worth, entertaining match until the closing moments when we saw who won the briefcase. It was just kind of like, for me, it was like that last little bit of hope. You want to send everybody home happy, and I love how WWE just did a pan shot in all the sad, disgruntled faces that saw that Baron Corbin was the winner. That's not, I'm sorry, that's not heat, WWE. Respectfully, that's not, that's not heat. That is sincere. We do not believe in this guy as an investment. We do not believe in this guy as something for the long haul of a future champion. So to WWE, I really hope that they have some type of a game plan ready for Baron Corbin in such a way that's going to make fans that were reacting the way that they were reacting tonight think in a different light of the direction that the company is trying to go in with Baron Corbin. I'm staying firm, though. I'm not budging on that one. I'm pretty confident that when we come back to this on Tuesday night, I'm still going to be at a 4 out of 10. I want to know what you guys think. So rate the pay-per-view. Let me know. Shout out to our good family over at Epic Sports. I want to know what you guys had thought of the pay-per-view as well. Scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it? Freddie, they must be turning Ellsworth into the next Andy Kaufman. I don't know, man. There's only one Andy Kaufman. That's all I gotta say. J-Rock, I see Nia Jax had a tweet out about James getting the case down. Interesting. I'm curious what she had to say. Lana's move looked like the sky high. Yeah, I would agree with that to a certain extent. I got Slater Breeze, who says Naomi versus Lana was a nice change of pace match, more technical wrestling to offset the extreme theme of the night. That's one way you can look at it, but I could also look at it as they did it that way to really try and protect Lana, because let's be honest, Naomi was doing a lot of the selling in that matchup when you go back and you watch it again. Reading some more statements here, guys. Bear with me a second here. See, I see another Baron Corbin deserves it in the YouTube chat, but that's not followed up with why Baron Corbin deserves it. I need to see it. Hey, we almost forgot something. I'm glad I'm still on the air. We saw a debut tonight. Finally, we had saw the Bennetts make their WWE debut. I'm talking about Maria and Mike Kanellis. They actually made their WWE debut. Now, Maria Kanellis, Bennett, we saw her in the WWE about 7 years ago. And when it was all said and done, it pretty much had came down towards the end of her tenure in the company. She did the Celebrity Apprentice. I remember she had polls for Playboy. And anybody that was following the WWE back then, I tell you what, the relationship that WWE had with Hugh Hefner and Playboy, once that went down, not sure what it was, but the women that posed for Playboy, all of a sudden, they just felt like, hey, all these other companies want me. These agencies want me. I'm getting these offers over here. You want me, WWE, you got to give me some serious fettuccine. And WWE just basically, okay, well, we understand that. Well, you know, sorry to see you go, but if that's how you feel, all right, you're granted your release. You're done. And for a lot of these women, their careers were not the same since. It is almost like the Playboy curse. You know how you have your Madden curse? Well, yeah, when it comes to the women that have posed for Playboy, to a degree, definitely a curse. Definitely bad luck for them, as their careers were never the same after they posed for Playboy. Because, like, you know, they're all like, but you look at Maria Kanellis, maybe she's going to break that streak. Who knows? I've always been a fan of Maria Kanellis. I've said that repeatedly on the show over the years. She is stunningly just beautiful. She's aged very well over the years. I mean, she has just gotten more fine-toned. Body-wise, she has just gotten more defined. I can tell that she's doing a fantastic job in cutting back on carbs, sugars. I mean, because sister is really toned up, man, really toned up. And I know she was doing her thing with her husband down in Ring of Honor. Love what they were doing down there with the Kingdom. When they came to Impact Wrestling, I had high expectations, and it just came up so flat on so many levels. It was just like, what is Impact Wrestling doing with these guys? Like, okay, I know you cannot do the Kingdom and Impact Wrestling, but like, surely you could put together some type of a stable to try to knock off the success that they had in ROH. But no, it's like they decided they wanted to just do this 180 with the Bennetts. And for me personally, from a viewing standpoint, it just came off like it really didn't resonate with fans. It came off like it really did not click. And I know they left Impact Wrestling a couple of months back, and rumblings were, hey, maybe they're going to be coming to the WWE. And I was pretty candid. I said, honestly, let them come up through NXT. Some people were like, nah, Lee, let them come up through SmackDown. Don't let them do Raw. They'll get lost in the shuffle. Instead, let them come to SmackDown. And I tell you what, for you guys that were like, nah, let them come to SmackDown, y'all need to pat yourselves on the back, because that's exactly what went down. They are now, as it appears, they're now going to be on SmackDown. And I'm happy that Maria Kanellis is back in the WWE. It's nice that she has this opportunity, and she's still pretty young. Mike Bennett, I know that, I mean, come on, what wrestler like, man, you know, WWE. So I'm actually really happy that Mike Bennett is in the WWE now. I tell you what, the way that they came out, their little entrance song, like you see all these little heart logo icons that's on the ramp, and you hear the most like classic, it sounds like a really vintage 80s soft rock ballad. I swear to God, it sounded like Kiss with Paul Stanley singing the song, man. And like as soon as I'm hearing the lyrics and all that, and I'm watching these guys come out cutting their promo, introducing themselves, and what was it they were saying? They basically were talking about how they're gonna introduce everybody to the power of love or whatever like that. Maria Kanellis, she basically said, "Hey, the first lady of professional wrestling is back in the WWE," and she says that during the course of the 7 years that she's been away from the WWE, she had been searching for the perfect partner. And Mike Bennett just came in there and says, and then she found me. And they basically close it out saying, we're now here and we're going to educate everyone on SmackDown, the power of love. And the hokey dokey song just played again. And like, first thing that's clicking in my mind is, that's the power of love. I mean, I'm just, I'm busting out the Huey Lewis in the news. I know I'm showing my age, but I was not the only one because shout out to my good colleague, Don Tony. I saw him put out the most funniest joint, and I got to pull this up before we end the show here. Here we go. So he puts out this hilarious tweet, and I tell you, great minds think alike, because I'm just going, power of love, Huey Lewis in the news. And Don Tony goes, Maria Kanellis and Mike Bennett in WWE. The power of love is a beautiful thing, but the power of money is even better. Huh? Impact Wrestling? And I come right back at DT. I say, but bro, they don't need money, don't need fame, don't need a credit card to ride the train. And if you know you're Huey Lewis, I'm basically doing a verse of the power of love. So Don Tony brilliantly. This guy's got great wits, man. I love this. I love anything. If there's one thing I love about DT, the guy's got great comedic timing. DT comes right back. He says Impact Wrestling should change their owl to a little white dove. More than a feeling. That's the power of love. Hashtag F the owl. He actually says it, you know. I think I did good tonight. I don't really think I put any curse words out there. I don't know. Just tonight, I just felt like not really putting any curse words out there. So hopefully you guys appreciate that. But yeah, I tell you, that was just one of the most hokey dokey, like, it made me want to just turn on like a Time Life infomercial that comes on late on the weekends with Casey DePriva and her husband. She's a soap actress, and they do all those nice, soft, tender ballads. Oh, Jim Weaver, I believe you can get me through the night, you know, and even the nights are better since I find you, you know, all that silly little crap. But yeah, man, I tell you, I hope that song changes. By the way, quick observation. They finally took my suggestion. I have been saying this time and time again over the past several months. Change Carmella's theme. And when Carmella came out tonight, that joint, they speeded up a bit. That joint basically said FAB. They spelled it. Yeah, it's late at night. I'm not interested in spelling her shit right now. Oh, there's your curse word. I was perfect until then. But she spelled out the fabulous in the little theme song, and then immediately they went right to the hook. And I thought that was great because remember the original joint, they go FAB blah 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 O-S, and then you hear boom 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 boom, that slow freaking tempo bass beat, right? And they cropped the hell out of that. I thought, honestly, if they want to keep it like that, that's fine. Me personally, I would just come in with the hook that's already in motion and spell it out, and I would do it like that. But what they did was actually on point. I don't know how many of you guys had actually observed that. One more last go round, just taking a look at some of the statements or maybe questions we got in the chats here one more time before I shut this bad boy down. Looks like we're caught up to speed by Spreaker, so that's good. See what we got right here. I got to show some love to a couple of new questions here. I see a 3 out of 10 rating for tonight's pay-per-view. Yes, I have been a firm believer in AJ Styles. This question from Darren, could I basically see WWE pulling the trigger on AJ taking on Shinsuke Nakamura at SummerSlam? Yes, I would love to see that. Personally, I wish that WWE would hold off until WrestleMania, but at the same time, if maybe you want to do it in a way where Shinsuke AJ won at SummerSlam, I'm down with that. If you want to do a part 2, maybe come, I don't know, Survivor Series or Royal Rumble, that's fine. Third encounter, the rubber band match, you let it go down at WrestleMania. If you want to do it like that, I mean, honestly, you got to have as many eyes on SummerSlam as possible. So at this point in time, would I be hating WWE if they decided they wanted to go with AJ and Nakamura at SummerSlam? No, I say do what you need to do. That's going to bring as many eyes to your product as humanly possible. SummerSlam, enough said. We don't need to go there with SummerSlam, right? We know that's of the big four. So yeah, I would have no personal problem with that. See what else we got here. I got to give a shout out to Tron Wayne. Tron is saying everyone has been so happy for Baron. If anything, the way he has established his character as a ruthless young talent who doesn't give a dang. At least he gets reactions. We need more heels on SmackDown. Who deserves anything in wrestling? It's what you make it into. Okay. You can't senselessly rate this pay-per-view if you won't even give it a chance. Tron, respectfully, I did give the pay-per-view a chance. I mean, I'm not tooting my horn, but I have been checking out professional wrestling since the early 1980s. I have seen a lot. And you know what, man? I could even put remotely to the side what went down with Baron Corbin. I still have to look at the big bulk of the pay-per-view that we had got tonight, and I'm still going to stand firm at a 4 out of 10. I'm still going to stand that firm. And it's great that you and other people, and I'm not, disrespecting you guys in any type of way, so please don't take it the wrong way. I have no problem with you guys that feel Baron Corbin deserves it. I just want to establish the dialogue with those of you that feel Baron Corbin deserves it. I just want you to enlighten me and everybody else why you feel Baron Corbin is deserving of being Mr. Money in the Bank. And we've only really scratched the surface so far from just some of the comments that have come in from you guys on why you feel that, hey, I got no problem with Baron Corbin. Like I said, come Tuesday, should be really interesting because I know we're going to get more comments. So I'm very curious, like, what the general consensus is. By the way, I do want to go to a poll that we have up currently right now, asking you guys, what did you think of the pay-per-view overall? And I want to do this in a 1-2 punch. First point. Who did you think was going to walk out as Mr. Money in the Bank? Now, so far, it is as follows. 43% of you felt that it was going to be Corbin or other. For those of you that maybe felt it was going to go other, I wanted you to tweet me the name of the person you felt was going to win Money in the Bank. Nobody had tweeted to me who they felt was. So automatically I'm going, okay, Baron Corbin. 23% felt that maybe it was going to be Sami Zayn. 19% felt that maybe it was going to be AJ Styles. And 15% felt that it was going to be Shinsuke Nakamura. And so far, with regards to our other poll, wanted you all to rate the pay-per-view, and it's almost about dead even. Right now, we have slight majority. 36% of you are in the middle with tonight's pay-per-view, and we have a tie of 32%. 32% of you give it a thumbs up. 32% of you are giving it a thumbs down. So very curious how that's going to be changing over the course of the next 48 hours. And shout out to Melody one more time. Yep, WWE couldn't even give those women the decency to book it that way. What's done is done. You can't really do a Money in the Bank rematch. She's following up on what I had said from earlier. So, hey, I think that's going to do it. We're going to stick a fork in it, and we're going to call that D-O-N-E, done. And yeah, we did touch upon the mic work. Yes, we did touch upon that. Tron, I saw you had just came in kind of late. We did touch upon that. Yes, where is Rusev? I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Where was Rusev? That would have, I tell you what, that would have bumped the rating up. That would have bumped the rating up of the pay-per-view in my book. I probably would have given it a 5 out of 10 because remember, we kept hearing Rusev say, hey, give me a shot at the WWE Championship, right? He wants a shot at the WWE Championship. He wants it by Money in the Bank, and it didn't go down. Where was the cameo by Rusev? I agree with that. You could have at least established Rusev on a microphone demanding to know where Shane McMahon is. Where's Daniel Bryan? You could have at least had something like that come about, but it didn't. So I'm curious if maybe Rusev is going to be making some type of an appearance, an improper appearance on SmackDown this week. We'll have to wait and see about that one. But that definitely was another missed opportunity. Like I said, it probably would have definitely drastically changed my rating without a doubt. Shout out to Rob. Rob, we talked about the tag match. You just now coming on board, buddy. We talked about all the matches. For those of you that's just now tuning in, here's the beautiful thing. The stream is about to end in 30 seconds, 90 seconds. You can automatically go back, watch it on demand, scoop it up on the downloads. Your next edition of the RCWR show is going to be coming at you this Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern after SmackDown goes off the air. So make sure you tune in for that. That's going to be good. And other than that, make sure you do tune in, man, because I'm going to be talking about my experience at the 3-day event, AwesomeCon, that happened in Washington, D.C. at the Convention Center. I actually got a couple of snippets right now on the YouTube channel, also on patreon.com/the RCWR Everybody, I appreciate all the great interactions. I want all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will catch you all for social media interactions with Raw this Monday night, and I'll catch you all for the Tuesday night stream. All right, guys, so tune in, man. Should be pretty freaking good. So YouTube, I'm gonna say good night to you guys. Let's go ahead and shut this down. YouTube, good night, guys.